Cyrus Pattinson versus Conah Walker, 10 rounds in the welterweight division happening this weekend on Saturday over in the UK. Let's get into it. Let's start with Cyrus Pattinson. 6 wins, no losses, 4 wins by way of knockout. Shout out to my guy, TJ, for bringing this fight to my attention. This is the first time I'm hearing about Pattinson, right? Yo, he's built strong. Right? Built compact. He's durable, right? He's got good power, good volume, good body puncher, power in both hands, puts together well mixed combinations. I mean, he changes levels in his punches. He's not a predictable guy, right? He disguises his attacks and makes it tough, right, for his opponents to kind of know what's coming to him. He breaks you down round to round. He's consistent. His output is strong every round. He's a little spiteful with his punches, man. Like when he throws these shots, you could definitely hear it when it lands. In his last fight, he fought Chris Jenkins in a hard, tough, grueling fight, man. I mean, a real back and forth fight. Both men had success in spots, right? Pattinson showed that he can go into those grueling fights, right? When it's tough, when his back is against the wall, when his opponent isn't backing down. Who are you in those moments? And he showed, man, look, as long as I'm here, I'm not about to back down from anybody, because he took some good shots in that fight and kept pressing forward. Jenkins, who had over 20 professional fights on his resume, so he had more experience. He's fought better opposition, right? But a little older, yes, but he was putting on a great performance on his end. But Pattinson kept the fight in close, man, and outworked Jenkins. But both men, man, tapped into that heart and that will, right? Because they looked exhausted, right? Going into the 7th and the 8th round. Right, but that is what you want to see from a young fighter, especially a young prospect who is still developing inside of the ring, right? When their back is against the wall, what's it going to look like, man? Can we see that heart? Can we see that will? We know you got the skills, but can you not revert back to old habits and training when you are tired? The man kept his hands up, right, and found a way to get the stoppage win. After, in the round before, he looked exhausted. Both men did, but this is where Pattinson's youth came into play against Jenkins, because he looked tired one round. The next round came and he got rejuvenated and the energy came back, and he finally overwhelmed Jenkins to the point where the ref had to step in. Right? Honestly, man, I like what he's doing, what he's been able to do from an offensive standpoint, right? I really like how he changes levels in his attacks. If you can be consistent to the body, man, it's going to open things up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to seeing what he is going to do against another experienced fighter who is going to give him a tough fight and some other problems that he's probably never dealt with in his career just yet. But let's talk about his opponent, Conah Walker. 11 wins. 2 losses, 1 draw, 3 wins by way of knockout. Okay, so we know the power isn't jumping off the charts like that, right? The fights that he's lost, though, have been close fights on the scorecards, right? He lost to Samuel Antwi last year in a great back-and-forth fight between those 2 men, and he lost his most recent fight to Kane Gardner, which we'll get into shortly, but both close fights on the scorecards. Walker isn't afraid to let his hands fly, man. I mean, he's durable. He could take a shot. When he fought Samuel Antwi, man, did they ever, both of those men put together a great performance, right? A valiant effort, and Walker did everything that he could do to get the win. You can't hang your head when you leave everything out there inside of the ring. I'm a firm believer, man, that if you have done all that you can do to win the fight, you can't hang your head because you gave everything that you had. You just weren't the better man that night. Right. But that was a fight, man, where, you know, he isn't the biggest puncher, but that doesn't stop him from bringing the pressure and applying the pressure. Right. He just kept walking forward, trying to engage in a close range fight where I think that's where he likes to fight. Right. It's interesting, man. Sometimes the guys who aren't the big punchers are the ones who like to engage the most. You know what I'm saying? But he's a good inside fighter. He did some very good work against Antwi from in close. He tried to lean on him and impose his physicality, but Antwi was too strong, man, too big. And he would push Walker back every time that Walker was starting to get the momentum. And when he got tired, that's when Antwi started to really let his hands go, man, and really started to impose his long arms and his reach and find openings on how to score points. As the fight went on, man, Walker looked a little bit tired. And that's when I thought Antwi started to take over and started to really control those rounds. But the effort of Walker is something that you cannot deny, man. He gave it his all. But again, as I said, Antwi that night was just the better man. In his last fight, he fought Cain Alexander. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I read that they were both training partners, right? So if that is true, then they're both familiar with each other's style and how each guy likes to fight. And I thought Walker on that night just got outboxed, man. You know, Cain was constantly moving, staying off the ropes, using his jab to create separation and taking what was given to him. He didn't really take a whole lot of risks that fight. He just took what was open and was content doing that. Walker is going to try and walk you down, man, and find a way to get in close. But he had a tough time doing that because of how much Cain was moving, and that jab, right, was keeping you at distance. When you cannot get on the inside, man, and you know that's where you want to get to, and you're doing all that you can to get to, it becomes frustrating when you cannot do that, right? And it kind of showed that frustration of Walker showed in certain rounds of their fight. Walker has some good moments, landed some good shots when he did break that distance, right? But he wasn't able to do it enough to get the win, especially the last few rounds. He needed to get those wins, but he didn't let his hands go enough. And, he didn't really take enough risk to me. So this is going to be an interesting outcome, man. So who wins? Man, Pattinson had to work to beat Jenkins in his last fight. He had to dig, right? And he's going to have to do more of the same in this one if he wants to beat Walker, because that man is relentless. He's going to try and overwhelm you with his aggression, with his style. Doesn't have power like that, but he's going to be in your face. He's going to push the pace. He's going to take risks. He's going to try to trade shots with you. He's going to be in front of you. This is a guy who's trying to win by any means necessary, even though he lacks the power to really be dominant when he is in those ranges. So that is why I think Pattinson's going to win by decision. I definitely think he can get the stoppage win. And if he can, it's going to be in the later rounds, right? But I also think from a development standpoint, man, this is a great opportunity for Pattinson to showcase his boxing skill, right? We know he can brawl. We know he can fight, right? But against different opponents, you got to adapt and adjust. Not saying he can't beat Walker at his own game, but it's an opportunity to showcase more of that skill set in his development, especially in these early years, right? But Walker could also come in and upset the young prospect, right? We can't take that out the mix, especially if the odds are nice too. I mean, maybe it's a little dabble here and there if you're feeling good about the odds. But again, I think Pattinson is going to win this fight. I'm expecting a good showcasing of him and these skills in his development. And Conah Walker is going to be a great opponent to showcase why we should continue to watch Pattinson on his rise. What are your thoughts on this fight? Who do you have winning this one? Let me know in the comment section below. If you would like to support the channel, there's a couple ways you can do so. You can like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you would like to support by way of donation, you can find options in the description below. Also, my Cash App handle will be on screen as well. Any amount goes towards the growth of this channel and will be greatly appreciated. Shout out to everybody that continues to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. This video was brought to my attention by one of our members, my guy TJ. I don't always get to do all of the suggested videos you guys suggest in the comment section below, but if you become a member, those suggested videos rise to the top, and I will do my best to get those done for you. Or if you would like to become a member just to support the channel, that would be greatly appreciated as well. I appreciate each of you, man. Shout out to everybody that continues to like the channel, support the videos, whether we agree or we don't agree. It's all love. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this long, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel, and we'll definitely see you next time.